Good morning, Vietnam. Or should I say, everybody, how you doing? K1GMM Steve here in the nervous twitch in the ditch. I hope everybody's doing well. Just a real quick announcement here, and I'm going to hey, John. John, geez, good to see you. Paul, how you doing, man? This is just a quick shout, really quick, painless, on a website I am putting up. Nerdy Rag Chewers. Boy, I can't tell you how many times I've been called a nerd, and I'm really not a nerd. I'm doing good. DK5. I have a friend of mine tell me, he says, you really are a nerd. I said, I'm really not. I know people who are nerds, and I am not a nerd. But, hey, I finally, my wife got me this for Father's Day. Check that out. Yeti mug. This coffee, I kid you not, is from about 7 o'clock this morning. Current time is 10:37, and it's still warm. Can you believe that? I love these Yetis, and she even got it monogrammed with my call sign. Isn't that nice? Tell you, she's a good woman. Hey, Bill, how you doing? Dan, good to see you. And I've been inundated with folks trying to contact me or contacting me regarding audio stuff. And oh my God. Wow. You know, and I'm running, as you guys know, I got 3 rigs here. The 7300, I think I'm going to put in the box and put it back on the shelf because I'm not using it too much anymore. But I get contacted throughout the week with questions regarding audio. Good to see you too. And it's become almost a full-time job. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not complaining, but I figured, I think it's time that I crack open a Pandora's box, which I already did, but I'm launching a website. It's online already, and it's under construction. And I've gotten good feedback on it, but I'm setting it up for folks who have never played with this stuff before. It's got to be in layman's terms, and I'm struggling to get material put together. There's not a lot of diagrams. There's no diagrams on it yet, and there will be because I'm a very visual person. And if I can see it, I can get my head around it. It's just how I am. And a lot of people I know are like that. So if they can see it, they can do it. They understand it. So it's going to be pretty comprehensive. And it's going to take a while. I'm just going to put that out there for you guys. It's under construction. I'm going to walk you through it. And the next page that's going up is going to have to do with signal flow. My hair's got visually longer. And for sharing, I'm deep in it and couldn't do it without you. Thank you. K9KFX. Drew. Good to see you, man. And thanks for jumping in and thanks for the feedback. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a shout out to everybody who sees this. And this is for the subscribers because mostly the guys that are contacting me, the folks are subscribers to the channel and they know this seems to be such a hot topic, and I really didn't anticipate it being that popular. But I go over the different approaches, the different types of audio, and okay, I just got a notification on YouTube that folks may experience some buffering. So, not sure what's going on with that, but you guys may see some buffering on the video, unfortunately. So anyways, I'm going to keep going here. And so I'm just going to walk you through the site really quick. Let's get over to here. And this is the main page. And you guys, the link is in the description. So, hey Kilo, link is in the description of this video, so you guys can go there. You can check for updates and stuff. Now, as you know, I run, like I was saying, the 7300 and a non 200D and a Sun SDR2 DX. The Sun SDR2 and the Anand are both SDR rigs. Okay, so it's okay now, Bill. You said so. Good. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to split this because what I'm doing now is I'm actually running a digital audio workstation, a DAW, on the 7300 as well when I use it. I have completely ditched the rack. I don't use the rack at all. And I'll be showing you on this website the different plugins that I'm using. I found some really, really nice plugins. So this is the main page, and when you go to the top, and I know everybody knows how to navigate a web page, but basically I go through all the different types of audio, the difference between extended and enhanced. Basically, you really can't run extended audio, extended single sideband on a conventional superhet because you're pretty much locked into a certain bandwidth, right? 2.83 kilohertz, somewhere in there, but you can enhance it. So sometimes there's a little confusion. They will say that, let's say a 7300 is capable of, quote, ESSB audio, unquote. Well, that's not necessarily the case. That's not really true. So what it is enhanced. So my point to all this is that you don't need a rig that will go out to 4, 6, 8, 10 kilohertz wide to improve the audio. I have a lot of people ask me, well, I have such and such a rig. How can I improve the audio on it? I can't run 4K wide. So that's what this is all about. This is going to be very comprehensive. It's going to cover whether you're running a wideband SDR rig or a conventional rig. I call a 7300 superhead. It's really not because it's a software-defined radio, but you really don't have the control on a 7300, 7610, or any of these conventional rigs that are, quote, SDR. I don't consider them true SDR. As a true SDR is like Flex, Anon, Sun, Expert, all that stuff, where you get that, you get the control and you get the ability to run very wide, but it's mostly about the control aspect. So you'll hit this page. I cover a couple different approaches to it. All right. Whether you're running hardware or software. I cover a little bit right now regarding the digital audio workstations. Now, the big advantage to the DAWs is that it costs nothing except the sound card. So you can buy basically a sound card with the appropriate cable to, let's say you're running a TS590 or a IC7300 or any rig. One thing you would need is the appropriate cable, and I go over the cabling. That's one thing that is very important, is the cabling on that you use to connect, be it from the sound card or from the rack, any kind of external gear you use, and cabling is very important. I had a situation, I've been working with a couple guys over the past few weeks, and I've seen situations where there's an issue with RF ingress, there's an issue with human error, and I can't remember, I always forget what the other issue is. It's actually on the website here. Instability. Instability. So you got instability, human error, and RFI. And I've actually seen situations where it's been all three of those at the same time together, and it can cause your freaking hair to fall out in clumps. So the cabling is very important. The advantage to running, YouTube's having a lot of problems. I'm getting more buffering. Just had another warning come up on the screen. The advantage to a DAW is that you eliminate a lot of the cabling involved. The fewer cables you have, the more likely you'll be successful in being able to eliminate RFI, stuff like that, or suppress it or whatever. There are ways you can do it, and there's certain types of cables you can use, and I go over that in the website. The 7300 section is very much incomplete at this point, and I need to go through, like I was saying before, signal flow, understanding how it works. And if you think about signal flow in regards to plumbing in your house, right? You have water that comes out of the faucet. Now that water has to go somewhere. So it goes through a series of pipes and drains all the way out to the septic or whatever. So you have a start point and an end point. And there are some key things that you cannot skip, whether you're using a digital audio workstation or you're using rack gear. It's all the same. It's just one is virtual and one is hardware. So, again, this is all for people. I'm working with people who have never done this before, and this is an education for me. I've been around this stuff my entire life, and it's intuitive for me, but I can't present it in a way. I can't present it to people who already know what they're doing with this stuff, who have been doing this for a long time. This has to be presented in purely layman's terms. It'll screw everything up. So, and nobody will get it. You won't understand it, but there's the coming pages will show how to get all of your signal from one plug-in or one piece of rack gear to another, to another, to another. And it all has to be done in stages, and you cannot skip anything if you want to make this work. So I'm going to head back over here. And I cover the DAWs. Basically, I make a recommendation. My recommendation is for DAWs. All DAWs are the same. I don't care what anybody says. They all do the exact same freaking thing. All right. So find a DAW that's very easy to work with and that seems to be intuitive to you. It has very good support. This is not rocket science. All right. First of all, you're not recording. Most people are not running MIDI keyboards and all kinds of crap. So, find what you're comfortable with as far as a DAW. Do not spend money on one. There's plenty of great free DAWs out there. Basically, all you're going to be running is an effects rack in the DAW and a channel strip and possibly a bus. A bus which is pre-master. So you've got your mic input. Send it to a mic bus. If you have multiple signals coming in, you can separate it and mix it through the buses and then send it out through the master. So I have a list of plugins here, and I think I've got a screwed up link I found yesterday, so I got to go in and fix this. So let me jump over to, this is basically the setup page. This is a starting point for anybody looking to work with an SDR radio, and this is all virtual. So if you go down through this page, these are the plugins I run. It's going to be dependent. You cannot really pay attention to my settings, although I have a friend that's running the exact same thing. We just got him going on the SDR2DX last night, and I was able to literally take my CWP file, which is the Cakewalk file, and send it to him. Basically, we installed the same plugins and lit it up, and boom, everything was there. And it was all pre-configured for him. He's also using almost the exact same mic I'm using. I'm using a 2200. He's using a 2400. So really slick. And what I will do is I will actually make these files, anybody who's willing to use Cakewalk, I will make these files available, and I will link them to the website so they can just download them and open them, and they will be all pre-configured, and then they can get off and running and just do their tweaking. Everybody's voice is different. You're most likely using a different microphone. Everybody's cadence is different, how they talk. I have a low voice anyways, so anybody with a low voice with a similar microphone, these would probably be good starting points. There's very specific plugins I use to get the audio to sound the way it does. I've been in one of the top 5 stations on 80 meters. It is Goliath. It's really good. But it's taken me a very long time to get it there. So the point to that is, don't think you're going to just set it up and run with it. This takes a long, long time, and it's very specific to the person's voice and the equipment they're using. All right. One thing I wanted to mention about a DAW setup on a SDR transceiver. I fussed for hours trying to get, you cannot share a sound card with 2 different applications. So if you have your SDR radio running on, let's say, a Mackie Onyx, and you want to share that sound card, let's say your DAW is running on the Onyx, and you want to connect that sound card to your radio. Well, it's not going to work. Yeah, I know, it's buffering, Bill. So the only way to do that is to use like a some pieces of software called like Voice Meter Banana or Voice Meter Potato. I screwed around with that for hours. There's virtually no support. I couldn't find anyone. I followed directions specifically. A guy that runs an Anon. I know a person that runs it with just a single sound card, and it works, and he got it working. I got it working, but I couldn't get it complete. It was stuttering. There were buffering issues. There were all kinds of weird stuff going on. So there's a way around that. You run 2 independent cards. And what I do here is I run a Mackie Onyx, and that is the DAW card. That's the card that runs the DAW, processes the audio. I come out of the back of that Mackie Onyx with a TRS 4-inch male to 3-pin XLR male into the channel 1 of the M Audio card, which is the main station card. That is what I use for the streaming and the radio. I'm not going to get into the streaming connections. But what that does is it pipes all of the processed audio to the M Audio card, which the M Audio card is communicating back and forth with it with the SDR. Works great. Don't have to screw around like garbage. I'm never going to revisit that again, ever. Don't contact me about it. Don't even talk about it with me. I go over that in the website. That's the reason why I do what I do. Is it worth it? You got to buy 2 cards. Yes, it's worth it because it keeps things all in the virtual realm. Basically, I've got 1 cable that makes a connection, and it's a shielded cable from the Onyx to the M audio card. That's it. And driver level to the rig is all controlled with the number 1 gain control on the M audio. That's it. And once the thing is set, I never touch it. I shouldn't say that. The only thing I touch is I kick out the modern exciter, and that puts it into, basically I can work some DX, So anyways, I know it's buffering again. I'll just go over some plugins really quick that I use. And the plugins for the DAW I run, basically it's a graphical parametric EQ you can enter, which basically it's not a compressor. And what the limiter does is that it'll shave off the top parts of the inflections of your voice, and it'll prevent it from pushing everything into overdrive with the peak modulation. Helps kind of get things under control, and it's non-destructive. It's called a multiband limiter. The next step is a compressor. No more than a 4-to-1, no more. It's a very subtle compression. You can adjust the knee, the release, and the attack. Let me get back over to the pan adapter. That's what I should be on. That's this one right here. And that will help smooth out your audio if there's sharp QSB on the band. It's very helpful. You kind of want, when you're talking like this really bombastic type audio, you want a little dynamic in there, some dynamics. But the problem with that is if there's sharp QSB, the low points of your voice will fall so low that you won't get the drive or the modulation out of your rig to hold you up in the QSB. And that's where the compression, this compression does not act like a compressor or processor in a conventional superhead, which I consider extremely destructive to your audio. The next one, these are killer plugins. Some of the best plugins I've ever seen. The next one I use is called a modern exciter. And you guys know that the rack I was running, I ran an Aphex. Aphex has been around many decades. It's proprietary technology. I ran a 204 with optical big bottom. There's virtually no way you will get a ripping top end and a Goliath bottom without running that device. That device does things that no other device will. It's called an Aphex 204. Almost impossible to find. Well, guess what I found? This is called a modern exciter. This is a plug-in, and it is flipping really close to a 204. It'll push that audio 20 to 40 hertz so hard that it will literally shake things. A friend of mine told me, he says, good God, he said, you're literally shaking things right off the table, off the shelves and stuff. If you got a type of voice like mine, and you want to go to that freaking massive, just massive bottom end, and I'm going to talk,